Hi, I'm Todd Helm with Rupes USA. On the next chapter of Bigfoot 101, we're going to look at basic swirl removal using a random orbital polisher. And there's a number of techniques we want to cover to give you the best results you can when you're polishing your car. The first thing we want to do is make sure that we start polishing in a comfortable position. Polishing a car or a vehicle is a physical activity, so we don't want to do anything that could get us uncomfortable or overly fatigued. So keep the polishing section in front of you. Too often, you'll watch somebody who's polishing and they're going to go too far out to one side or the other. This puts the body in a compromising position, accelerates fatigue, and often can lead to a less than desirable result. Another thing that we always recommend for every polisher is take that polishing cord and put it over your shoulder. That prevents the cord from dragging or running across the paint and undoing the work that you just did. You don't want to put scratches in with the cord after you just polished a section. So what we like to say is bring the paint to you. Get as close as you can, keep your polishing section about shoulder width apart, and move around the vehicle. Don't stay stationary and overextend yourself. So now we're going to look at some of the basic techniques that you need to get great results right away. Now these are the basic Rupes recommendations, and they are variables. As you develop your polishing skills, you may find that you start to make adjustments to these variables, but these are always a good reset. It's a good way to start and ensure you're getting good results. The first thing we're going to talk about is the reload amount. And reload amount is how much product we're putting on the pad after it's primed. Now Rupes Bigfoot DA polishes are famous for how little they require to get optimal results. On a large 180 millimeter faced pad, that'd be the pad we use on the 21, we're only going to do 2 to 4 drops of reload, and these are pea-sized drops. As we shrink the pads down, we're going to use less and less product. So on a 150 millimeter face pad, on a 15, we might use 2 or 3 drops. Down to the mini, 1 or 2 drops. Nano, we're just dabbing the pad with polishing compound. This is one of those cases where less is more. If you use too much product, you can actually reduce performance and spend longer polishing, and you can even wear out your polishing pads faster. The next area we're going to talk about, so we've applied the polishing compound, the reload to the face of the pad, we have to talk about our application area. If you remember from another video in this series, we defined terms, and an application area is defined as how large your polishing section is. So these are the size bites we're going to take out of the vehicle. Now Rupes recommends an application area roughly 6 times the size of the pad. Now if you're working on an area with maybe the bed of a truck or over a fender, of course there's going to be some variability there. But we want to keep it fairly consistent because that helps us deliver a consistent result over the entire face of the vehicle. Tool speed. Generally, for all Bigfoot random orbital, gear-driven, and rotary tools, we recommend polishing around 3 to 4. 3 to 4 gives us a good balance between pad life, pad performance, and polishing results. There are times when we're removing deeper scratches that we might go up to 5 or 6, or if we're attacking a body angle that is curved. But for general polishing, set it at 3 to 4. In fact, learn how to use your polisher on speed 3 to 4 before you even consider increasing the speed temporarily. Arm speed. We're going to go over our polishing section size at a slow rate. For some people, this could be faster than others, but when we head out to the Detailing Academy and watch Chasen demo an area, he's going to give you a good example of what we would consider slow to moderate arm speed. Generally, with a random orbital Bigfoot polisher, you're going to get better results going over the area less, but moving it slower than going over the area a bunch of times faster. Pad angle. One of the big keys with a Bigfoot random orbital polisher is we want to engage as much of that pad to the surface as possible, and the center of that pad needs to be flat to the surface. Now this isn't always possible. If you're going over a convex curve, we want to keep the center of that pad flat to the curve. So this is something to consider. The edges might be lifted because of the angle of the curvature, but the center of that pad is flat to the curve. If we're polishing large flat sections, that pad should be fully engaged on the surface. And this can take a little bit of practice to get used to because it's natural to apply too much pressure in one direction because you're grabbing too hard, and this can slow down the pad rotation and reduce polishing results slightly. Down pressure. If you remember from an earlier episode of Rupes Bigfoot 101, we defined terms and we talked about down pressure. And down pressure is the pressure we apply evenly to the polishing machine to engage the pad to the polishing surface. So if we were polishing a door, down pressure is actually lateral. If we're polishing the roof or the hood, we are pushing down. The amount of pressure that we're going to use with the Bigfoot random orbital system is slight. There is no definition of weight. We just want to engage the pad to the surface, and that's going to give us the best results. So now, to illustrate these concepts with a live demonstration, let's send it out to Jason in the Academy.
All right, so here we are. We're going to walk you through the application process. On an earlier video, you may have noticed that on this particular car, we did a test spot and we dialed in our blue-blue combination, the DA coarse and our coarse wool pad, as the ideal one step on this particular car due to paint hardness and defects. But for you to really see the phenomenal difference this is going to produce, we're going to put a tape line on here so you can really see the difference, and we'll ask my assistant to come and help us do that. So we will show our standard application process. We're going to do this systematically in the sections that were described in the classroom there. With this combination, we have already primed our pad, we've already done the test spot. We are going to do a reload. And then pick an area. And so we will have our cord over the shoulder just to protect the paint here. Speed 4, standard application area, side to side movements. We will stop to wipe the residue off each application area. We are verifying that we have the desired results we're looking for. If we are, then we go to the next area. All right, so we have just completed our procedure on this half of the hood. But we are in our Bigfoot Academy with these intense paint correction lights. So I'd like to bring you outside and have you look at the results out in regular sunlight, which is what more likely you will be seeing your car in. So let's go check it out. So here we are in the sun, no smoke and mirrors here. What you see is what you get. So as you can see, we have very, very good defect removal, depth of color. It's really glossy. This is a fantastic result compared to the other side that we did not do anything to, where you can see all those car wash marks and towel marks. So this is our application process. Now I got to go back in and complete the whole car.